this looks great, Seth. So here's your overview. Over on this side, we have the grain-fed, and then on this side, we have the grass-fed. So as you recall, we started out with 339 pounds hot carcass hanging weight. That's the number that really matters. And then what we're left with from that hot carcass hanging weight is what you see in front of you, which is mostly boneless, closely hand trimmed, ready to pack or grind eating meat. Now inside your tape, you have all your steaks, your roasts, your cuts. The total on the grain fed inside the tape is 126 pounds of cuts. On the outside of the tape, you have your trimmings right here. These are boneless and ready to grind. That's 94 pounds. So in total, you have 220 pounds of closely hand trimmed, mostly boneless, eating meat, ready to package, put in your freezer. That's 64.8% of the hot carcass hanging weight. Now, typically, you're purchasing animals by that hot carcass hanging weight, sometimes live weight, but in this case, it's hot carcass hanging weight. And that can vary based on where you're at in the, geographically, what farming practice went put into it. So I'm using the average of the purchase price for the grain-fed carcass at $3.25 per pound times that hot carcass hanging weight of 339 pounds. So that's going to give us a total cost to acquire the carcass of $1,101.75. Now layer in the processing fees, which again can vary around the country, and I've just averaged them to $1.20 a pound times the hot carcass hanging weight, which includes the slaughter fee as well. You add those together on your grain fed, you're looking at a total of $1,508.55 for what you see on the table to put in your freezer. That's coming out to $6.85 a pound packaged price. So $6.85 a pound is your average package price for your grain-fed beef. Now, outside of what you see here, we have the trimming, the offal. So we have bones. We have pure fat that can be rendered down into tallow. We have scraps that aren't good for rendering. They're not good for pet food. Those go in the barrel. And then we have some stuff that we could grind into pet food. Your non-edibles, we'll call that on your grain-fed, 119 pounds. Now switching over to the grass-fed. Again, hot carcass hanging weight, the number that matters, 302 pounds. Purchase price, I'm going with $5 a pound on your grass-fed. But first, I'd like to tell you the total weight of the cuts inside the tape on your grass-fed is 111 pounds. So that's everything that's a steak, a roast, mostly boneless, closely hand-trimmed eating meat. Outside the tape, you have the trimmings ready to grind. On your grass-fed, it's 96 pounds. So that's a total of 207 pounds of mostly boneless, closely hand-trimmed, ready to package and put in your freezer meat on the grass-fed. That's a higher yield than we get on the grain-fed, as we expected. That's 68.5% yield. Even though we took that hit on the evaporation loss, we still made it up in the end with this higher yield. So this results in the pricing as we break it down. 302 pounds carcass hanging weight, $5 a pound. You paid $1,510 for this grass-fed half. You add in that $1.20 a pound in processing fees, you're looking at a total of $1,872.40 in the package or per pound price. $9.05. So you're going to see that premium that we talked about for grass-fed. Again, just a reminder, you get a better yield. It's a little more nutrient dense. That if you're into the healthier side of it, we often use the analogy, this is kind of like your olive oil. This is kind of like your butter. Then over here, we have this sort of the same configuration of offal. We have the bones. Of course, those can be put into a soup stock, something like that. We have much less fat on the grass-fed. We have a whole lug of it over there on the grain-fed, much less on the grass-fed. In fact, on those two in particular, we went from 40 pounds of tallow on the grain-fed down to just 7 pounds on the grass-fed. We've got the same type of scrap, and then we've got some for pet food. 81 pounds is what our total is there. So there's your breakdown by the numbers. 2025 refresher. Seth and I are going to now grab a steak take it out to the grill it up for you quick, give our final thoughts on flavor, tenderness, and what this all means to you, the viewer.
Pretty cool video.
Very cool. Great
Next
job.
up, thanks, same to you. Let's light the grill. Let's cook a couple steaks. Grill's hot. Grain-fed, going on the grill. Ribeye. Grass-fed, going on the grill. Also a ribeye. Let's get them cooked up. Grass-fed's finished. Keep in mind that these don't have any seasoning on them. We're going to try these just as they are. No seasonings. And the grain-fed is finished. So there you have grain-fed. There you have the grass-fed. Gonna let those rest for a minute. Slice them up. Get a taste. So I cooked them. Scott's gonna do the honors of slicing them up.
Let's see how we did here. Which one's which?
That's grass-fed.
That's grass-fed and that's grain-fed. Mm-hmm. Ooh, nice cooking job, Seth.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get a little slice here of each, right out of the center of the ribeye, and we can go on to the spinalis or whatever we want to make sense with later. Okay, so there's our grass-fed or grain-fed. There's our grass-fed.
Do grass-fed first?
Sure. Great beef.
Good flavor.
Big beefy flavor. Typically with grass-fed, you're going to get more of your mineral content, your vitamin content that's in there. You're going to taste as a flavor, which sometimes can be compared to, it's a bigger, beefier flavor, a richer flavor.
A little bit more irony.
Yeah. Some people would maybe even say it's gamey. I wasn't picking up so much of that, but you can definitely get it's just a richer flavor, typical of grass-fed beef. There's your buttery, smooth buttery steakhouse, mostly what you're used to. The big difference usually with the flavors comes when you actually get into the fat. Let's have a nice big hunk of fat right there and see what you think about the flavor of the fat. How about you take that one?
Don't
the
mind
flavor,
if I do.
Flavor of the fat. Typically in the grass-fed, the fat is in itself is what you get that little bit more of a gamey or a high flavor.
Now something I'm not picking up with that is that grassiness. I didn't notice it.
Not
with
so
that.
much, and then
not so much.
Over here in the grain-fed, you just get that more mellow flavor. Got some spinalis there.
That's my favorite
We
part.
can dip it in the bold or we can dip it in the black.
I'm gonna go with bold.
Oh. Our seasonings, I know we say this all the time, but formulated for meat, not to overpower the flavor of the meat, just adds another essence to it, enhances the flavor, brings it up 20 notches.
So good. So this isn't really which one we prefer. This is just our opinion on how they taste. Grass-fed, if you're used to eating, like your wild games and more of a natural way of eating, you're gonna lean towards the grass-fed beef. If you're more towards that, like Scott mentioned, that steakhouse flavor, that buttery goodness, you're going to lean towards the grain-fed. So they're both excellent. It just really depends on what you want out of a steak. Both of them are very, very good, even without any seasoning. Obviously, they're much better with the seasoning, in our opinion. But yeah, they're great.
Drop your opinion in the comments. Which one would you choose?
Yeah, we want to know.
Are you a health nut who wants a little bit more nutrient-dense beef, and you want to know a little bit more about how the foraging was done with the cattle? and perhaps you're more environmentally minded? Or are you just looking for a rich, juicy steak and you want a little lower price point? So those are
It's up
both
to you.
things that factor into it. We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you came out of it a little more educated. We hope we could elevate the meat experience for you. And we want to encourage you to visit us at beardedbutchers.com. Check out all the stuff that we have regarding our website, and make sure that you're subscribed and you've got the bell turned on for notifications. You follow us here, and you follow us on whatever other platforms you're on.
This was a fantastic video, absolutely packed with information. If you could, share it with your family and friends. We want to educate the audience, because an educated audience makes a better consumer. So whether you're going into the grocery store, into a butcher shop, into a restaurant, this is going to make you a more educated person, and you're just going to enjoy the experience so much more. So hopefully you guys and gals enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more, and until next time,